Welcome to another iteration of My Two Cents. Today's topic is cutting Shakespeare. As you know, I come from a place of purity. I don't think anything should be cut, or at least it shouldn't be cut until you have a chance to have the actors make sense of it, either for themselves or for you. And then if that can't work or it's not important to the plot, then okay, maybe cut it. But if you start cutting things, you need to make sure that you say that what you're putting up is a play that's inspired by the works of Shakespeare and is not William Shakespeare. Because sometimes you cut things and they're not understood or understandable. Case in point, a recent production of King Lear that I saw, where the first section between Gloucester and Edmund, when they talk about what it means to be a bastard and how a bastard is treated differently than a legitimate heir, and just for bawdy fun, they talk about how the bastard was actually made the moment of conception, where the father and then his mistress were going at it to create the bastard. Really fun. You cut that, so then you don't really understand like the whole thing about succession and property transfer from legitimate parent to legitimate child. We go to the scene where Lear actually does that, and then we cut to this character who we've never met before because it was cut, coming on stage to talk about how unfair it is in the world that a bastard child is thought of as not as equal as a legitimate child. And he gets to invent this great word, legitimate, right there for us in front of our eyes, right? But if you cut the first part, you have no idea that he's the bastard. You have no idea that he's upset about being the bastard. You have no idea that part of what his journey as the villain in the play is for him to establish his rights, his equal rights to his legitimate brother. You have no idea what's going on. People are like, well, I can't understand Shakespeare. Well, no shit. Someone just cut an important part of the story out. Of course you can't understand it. And then later, if you decide that the fight scene is going to be hand-to-hand combat rather than a sword fight, that's written, that's totally fine. I don't have a problem with that interpretation, except that coming out of the fight, one of the characters says, "Lay down your sword." He didn't have a sword. There was never a sword on stage. He's got nothing to lay down. And you didn't think to cut that? Okay. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Be careful cutting Shakespeare. Hire a professional.